Right, so we got halfway through this and I kind of thought this might be something people might find interesting to watch, or maybe not, let's wait and see. But we're getting rid of my kayak that you can see here. We're getting rid of the little Garmin chirp, and we are putting on Garmin 7 SV scanner. So we're going to get side scan. So what I'll do now is I'll turn the camera around and run through some of the stuff that I've done to get this set up on the kayak and have a bit of a talk as we go. The previous sounder with just a little ordinary chirp transducer, that fit basically into there. I managed to make a little mounting bracket to screw into those two things, and that sat down underneath this so that it was reasonably protected and I could just slide it down the mud, launch it. You can see that I don't really take it very easy on this kayak. It is my basher for doing little creeks and rock bars and stuff like that. I've got a boat for fishing in places I can get to a boat, but I really want side scan. So I went and bought the side scan, and then it was a matter of where will I fit the transducer. So if you put something on the back, but then it risks getting damaged when you end up turning around in creeks and stuff like that, and gets flipped around and it's hanging off there. And I couldn't put it down inside this socket, even though the transducer for this thing isn't too long, because it's shooting out to the sides and the kayak's going to interfere with it. So what I needed was a system where I could retract the transducer and put it back down, but I didn't want to hang it over the side of the kayak, which a lot of people do, because that just seems like a pain in the ass to me. And it seems like a good way to, especially when you're fishing for jacks and stuff, to have a fish go tearing up under the kayak and stitch you up. And also you're getting dragged into the mangroves and stuff, so it's a good way to have it, scraped up against a mangrove log or a snag or something. I thought about it. I thought about the scupper hole and put a fair bit of thought into it actually, and it slowly started to formulate in my mind, and this is what I've done so far. I've got some dowel that fits fairly tight into the tightest point of the scupper, but it actually tapers open at the other end. What I've done is I've got the transducer, I've made up a couple of little alloy brackets with some stainless steel screws, I've got my dowel, I've got reasonably good tools here. I've worked in the building industry, but I don't have, like high level engineering cabinet making tools. As you can see, I've jerry rigged a couple of things. Put a couple of slots in there, put a couple of stainless steel screws, got this at 90 degrees, made sure that this thing goes down in there nicely, so that fits now just below the line of those two scoots. And that can come up, I can rig that so it can come up to a position where it can shoot out to the side no problem. But here's the other thing I'm going to do. I'm going to rig it up so I can turn it. And I've got a handle up inside the kayak, and I can scan in front and behind. So that's what we're going to do. I've put a route up of the doweling, and the cable will be routed up inside that and sealed up with some silicone. Then I'm going to seal up the timber, and on the other end, on the scupper side, I've got some PVC pipe that fits very tight to this. I cut a slot in it, so it fits very tight to that, and I cut a slot in it. Keep talking but not filming. And I'm going to make a sleeve to keep this thing nice and vertical and to slide up and down nice and easy. On the top of it, I'm going to put a bolt through it so I know what direction it's going, and the transducer cable runs up inside the little box in the middle of the kayak, which I'll show on another video. But in the meantime, yeah, that's what we've done. A bit of bush engineering, and we're going to end up with maybe a 360 scanner of sorts. Let's see how this works out, and hopefully I'll be able to do a couple more quick clips and put them together, and then at the end of it do some filming on the maiden voyage and show some pictures of how it looks. All right. Alrighty, skip forward in time. Rather than going through just showing me doing the actual shit that I did, I thought it'd be just easier to say, look, this is what I've done. And if anyone's really that interested, they can always message me, especially on Instagram. This is my little Kings 3.3. And as per the previous video, we've put in a Garmin. So what's arrived is my RAM mount. It gives me a little bit of extension, gets it closer to my face, which my eyes don't really work like they used to 10, 20 years ago. A little pole setup that we had. This is from the top of the kayak. The transducer is currently subtracted up. So this is sitting up inside of that section there, so I can drag it around, skip it about through the mud, not really worry about it. The sounder itself is set up on the little center console section. So you can see right now that the transducer is disconnected because I'm about to power it up, and which I have already. Little secret. Inside here, so I've got 2 lithium motorcycle batteries. Work in a motorcycle shop, makes it easy. They're like 4.5 amp hours, so I bridge them together and it gives me, you know, pretty close to 10 amp hours, and it doesn't even weigh a kilo. Like, they're very, very light, very compact. Got all my cables reeled up in there. That's the transducer cable. All my connections, the power's hooked up. I've got my little drift anchor in there. I'll probably do another video on that at some stage that I use for fishing in lakes. Where I've got my RAM mount, I've Sikaflexed some timber up inside there to make that mount a little bit more solid. That all sits inside there. The transducer is then routed up through here, and as I showed before, it goes down through the pole. Now with the pole, I've got this little piece of plastic set up to stop it from falling down. So that just is slightly over half, so it clips on and holds it up. When I want to deploy the transducer, that comes down into there. That little collar sits in there, and then I can spin it around, side to side. Now I've got some very specific ideas about how I'm going to use that and what situations it's going to make it a really cool thing. As you can see there, that's transducer sitting up, comes down, pointing forward, and I can spin it to where I want it. I mean, just ideally, if you've thought about it this way, if I'm drifting down a creek and I'm drifting sideways, as you often do, drifting down a creek, I can turn this so that I'm scanning still side to side through the creek. I'm scanning now to the front and the back of the kayak and drawing a picture of what's in front of me and behind me as I drift sideways. Or if I'm anchored up or sitting against the bank and I know that there's a snag or a rock bar or something in the middle, I can get the transducer and I can point it in either one direction, more forward to catch fish as they're coming through, or I can just turn it with my hand and paint a picture of what's going on. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the possibilities. See the kayaks there. All I need to do is reach forward, grab a hold of this, turn it around. If I'm launching or retrieving, once again, that just pulls straight up. That little clip clips on there, stops it from coming down, and we have power. Pretty exciting. Very much looking forward to tomorrow. It's Friday, June the 19th today, and tomorrow the barometer is kicking up. Winds fairly good. I'm going to head down to a little creek that I like to fish that's very, very tight. Can't get a boat in there, and give it a run. Not really expecting much in the way of fish, although there has been a few people getting a few winter jacks. There are barra in this creek as well, and this is one of the things with this sounder I'm really hoping to get onto, is to get up into some of these tight creeks and find where the barra are laying and really be able to present a lure to them. So, hey, pretty excited. Got my little aluminium sleeve on the pole to protect the transducer cable and stuff, spinning it around to stop it from wearing. Buy my favourite power pack, V, as you can see, there's a couple more sitting over there. Pretty much fuels everything that I do. Yeah, well, thanks guys, and next thing you'll see is me on the water. We're in the water. This is where I've got it tuned to so far. Nice. Got a tree there. There's a couple of what looks like fish holding in that tree, probably brim. You can see the water's 17.2 degrees. That's what we're looking to do. We're looking to find exactly where the structure is. Tiny little tight creek. Transducer's working really well. Sit just down there, and once we get a bit further down and get to a couple of rock bars, we'll have a go at pivoting it around and doing a little bit of 360 work. Here's an application for the movable transducer. Right now I'm drifting along at an angle, and I can spin this to point to the front of the kayak. So now the left hand side of my screen is a line that's shooting straight in front of me. So I can read what I'm looking to actually cast at before it drifts on by. So I'm still side scanning the creek, I just don't have to have the kayak oriented straight forward, which only ever lasts about 3 minutes. Bit of a stick under there. I can see behind me as well, which is the right hand side of the screen. Right, so right now I'm sort of drifting along diagonally. Anyone who's fished out of a small to medium kayak will understand that they sort of can do a bit of what they want. So what I've figured out is what I can do here is, because right now I'm shooting backwards to the left and forward to the right, and I'm really trying to find fish the left bank. So I can get this and I can point the left hand side basically to the front of the yak. So now my beam is shooting straight out here, and what I've got on the left hand side of my shark is what's right in front of me as it's coming through the beam. The right hand side is what's behind me, and I can see there's a couple of showings up under the bank, and that is right in front of me. So that seems to be a bit of an advantage. And as the kayak pivots around on the drift, like they do, I do it with the paddle. I'll adjust myself so I'm pointing more forward down the creek and drifting forward. I can then just go back here and shoot to the sides now that I'm running forward. and not have to constantly adjust the attitude of the vessel to get to scan the area that I want to fish. On. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Jesus, it's playing up. Oh! Oh! Man. Oh dear. I don't know, I'm going to tell myself it was a catfish. Just so I don't cry. Well, I want to call that a wrap for the scanner video. Hopefully it all comes out okay, to get it all back together. Pretty successful morning for the first run. Took a little while to get used to where it was pointing and get the settings right and stuff like that, but after that, really easy to see rock bars, really easy to see snags, a structure that was off to the side in this creek that I hadn't seen before, that hopefully when summer comes, we'll be able to get amongst some fish. Yeah, the scanner performed really well, and having the flexibility of being able to drift along and point it where you want it to go was really, really handy. So, you know, hey, you can spend $8,000 on a Humminbird 360 that you can't fit in your kayak, or you can spend $800 and a little bit of time and energy and a little bit of bush engineering, and there you have it. Hopefully that'll inspire some people anyway, and get out there amongst it and have some fun. Cheers.